Hope you're ready for more listener horror tales and experiences on the reservation because I have a very good one here for you. Be sure to smudge your home, get your tobacco ready, and all your protections because this is going to be a good one. Oh. Welcome back to another episode of Shanclen Shadow Productions. Now, I've seen all the comments that how much you guys love the viewer submittal story in one of my last videos that I've done. I've got another one here just for you. I've been getting a lot of stories here from a lot of people in the reservation, and this one really reached out to me because it's going to be about a deity that I have not talked about in this channel yet. So, without further ado, let's hop into the story. Oh. I watched your video about the sheep herder's experience, and it brought back something I hadn't thought about in years. This happened when I was just 6 years old in Beclabito, New Mexico. I probably said that wrong, I'm so sorry. That's where I grew up. My dad's family had always been there, and my mom moved there after they had gotten married. We lived about a mile north of the old Beclabito trading post. Quiet, dry country, the kind of place where you hear everything. Wind, dogs, footsteps. It was around late spring. School still had a couple weeks left, and I remember clearly because Days of Our Lives was playing during lunch. That soap opera was like clockwork in our house, and mine too. My mom had beef stew and fry bread ready to go that day. We ate while the show droned on, and afterward, my mom laid down for her usual nap. My little brother curled up beside her, and my dad had just left to go walk to the trading post to go check the mail. That was my window. I waited a few minutes to make sure the coast was clear, then snuck out. Our front door had a screen latch, so I climbed onto the cabinet with a wash basin to reach it. We had no running water at our home. Same here. Just a basin and jugs. I carefully unlatched it and stepped out into the sunlight. I ran. I sprinted to the goat pen with my heart pounding and more excited than scared. My dad and older brothers had patched it up with old panels, and I slipped through the broken area to avoid a big billy goat that was inside. He had a chain around his neck to keep him from charging. Those ones are always scary. I climbed up the side of the shed my dad had been working on, the one with the new galvanized metal roof. I wanted to see if it could hold my weight, and it did. Just a kid on a rooftop feeling like the queen of the world. I sat down and let the sun warm my back. Behind the goat pen was a rock gully, and beyond that, a rock formation about 4 feet tall. It created a narrow alley between the rock and the slope, barely enough space for an adult to walk through. Up on top of that rock were old, towering juniper trees, the kind with thick, low branching that reach all the way to the ground. These trees easily stood over 14 feet tall. You could hide behind them easily if you wanted to. If someone was back there, you'd never know unless you were looking. I wasn't looking. But something made me turn my head, that weird feeling like someone was staring at you. I scanned the trees and noticed something. A shape, dark, still, and wrong. And this was in the middle of the day, bright sunlight and almost summer. Then I heard a voice, a girl's voice. "Hey Sharon, do you want to come and play with me?" It sounded just like Ellie. Now, this is where I have to explain something. I was in the first grade, but I was the only kid who was a year younger than everyone else. The principal said that he couldn't have a kindergarten class with just one student, so they bumped me up. All the other kids had been together for years. They knew each other, they played together, laughed together, and I was always on the outside looking in. Only 2 kids ever really talked to me, and one of them was Ellie. That's why at first I really thought it was her. But Ellie lived about a mile away, and between us was a steep wash, some hills, and a yard with nasty dogs. I knew she wasn't supposed to be anywhere near here, and I called back, "Where are you? Who are you?" And she replied, "It's me, Ellie. Remember me? I'm behind the trees." Even as a little kid, something felt off. My stomach dropped. "Why are you behind the trees?" I asked. And she giggled. "Because it's hot." and it's not hot back here. How did you get here? Where's your dad? I walked. Come on, come back here and play with me. But I remembered Ellie had told me that her family was going to Farmington that day. Someone had gotten paid and they were going into town. She couldn't have walked here. And even if she tried, there's no way her dad would have even let her come alone. I asked, "What color shoes are you wearing?" "Red," she said quickly. But I knew Ellie hated red. She never wore it. I'd seen her cry once in class because she was given a red crayon for her drawing. That was the final red flag. I was about to ask another question when a hand grabbed me from behind. It was my dad. He had come out of nowhere, calm, smiling, like everything was fine. He said we needed to get back inside. I told him how did he get home so fast from the trading post, and he just laughed. He said he ran there and back. Now once we were back inside, both my mom and dad sat me down and told me not to go outside alone again. Not ever. It wasn't until I was older that they told me the whole story. That morning my dad had a bad feeling, said that he couldn't shake it. So instead of just heading to the trading post, he circled down through the wash to watch the house. He saw me sneak out and head straight for the shed. But he saw something else there too, something behind the junipers. He said that it was tall, 9 or 10 feet easy, and black. Not black like clothes or shadows, black like a hole in the world. Thin, unnatural, watching me, and when it noticed my dad approaching, it started to move. That's when he rushed in, acting casual, not wanting to spook me. What started as a plan to catch me playing where I shouldn't have been turned into something else entirely. He told me later that there were old stories of beings that call out in familiar voices, that lure people away. Young, old, doesn't matter. Some said that they were spirits, others things far older, darker. The old ones used to hunt them, but even strong, brave men sometimes never came back. That day, I almost followed that voice. I didn't know where I would have been if I had. I never, ever trusted a voice calling from the trees ever again. Yeah. So this story really reached out to me because this is a being that I know a lot of people in my comments have talked about mimics before. Now, mimics are a being that's similar. It's a category. It's not a very specific type of thing. It's kind of like the phrase, like, there's a Skinwalker, but it's a shapeshifter. So it's like a more generic kind of term. And then Skinwalker is a very specific type of shapeshifter. Mimics, there's different types of them too. So over here, we've dealt with some of these beings, and I've actually heard some of these stories. We call them, I guess in English, they would be described as lure demons. And these ones over here, to kind of classify the type of mimics that you deal with, because when it comes to darker beings, learning how to mimic these certain things are very, very common. So if it's a being that's more specifically into luring or mimicking people, then it just does that. Sometimes they work alone. Most times they work with other beings and deities. And in this case and scenario, it's very interesting that it happened during the day. That's what kind of lured it out for me, being a Skinwalker kind of thing. And plus its description really doesn't kind of match what a Skinwalker would really look like. It's more so a spiritual spectral thing that kind of manifested into a physical being. Now, with these things, there could have been something else there hiding in the shadows that the father did not see, that the little girl did not see. So with this, I'm super happy and glad that Sharon did not go out and see this being, because who knows what could have happened. We have old stories of why you never follow voices at night or go outside. Well, you can go outside during the day sometimes, but when you hear voices like that, there's stories of little children getting stolen like this on the reservation. And even, somebody who's going through grief of loss, sometimes they can mimic the voices of these people and in a sense set a trap for you, take your soul, take you to another place. And in those stories back in the day, that's how people just straight up disappeared, like these spirits would kind of take them to another dimension if they wanted to wherever they wanted to go. and most of them are bad. There's still some good mimics out there, but this scenario and story really isn't that good. You know, it's definitely a being that didn't have good intent for this person, and kind of just its description of how it looked. It's pretty crazy. So there were stories back in the day where there used to be these mimics that used to run around the reservations. So the warriors used to go out and hunt these things and chase them down. So, you know, they would have somebody, you know, younger in age to kind of use them as bait. And these things would kind of come around and they would hear the voices, and just kind of like how the father kind of snuck up to that thing. That's how the warriors used to do. You know, they get their bow and arrow and just shoot it right then and there and capture it and get rid of it and dispatch it. So with this that happened here, this had to happen with Days of Our Lives, or you know, it was a couple of years ago. So, you know, they're still around and about. So when it comes to mimics and everything, just be very careful and don't follow the voices, especially if you have a really off feeling like how they did, you know, because, you know, you never know if they're working alone, or there could be a darker entity that's right behind the next rock or hill that's there waiting for them. So yeah, and just trust your gut feelings. The thing with this one is, like, it matched her voice, but it did not match some of the likings. Like, even as a little kid, good job to you, listener Sharon, for picking this out to kind of test it out to see if it's actually this person, asking it, you know, what color are you wearing, and then it giving a red flag that it doesn't like the color red. You know, that's very, very smart of you, especially at that age. So test them out in these certain things like this. And, you know, if you're just out there in the middle of nowhere, middle of the night, and you hear, you know, your grandfather calling you in the middle of the woods when he lives across the country, yeah, something's kind of wrong with that. So yeah, just be careful. Yeah, always have protections, always have your weapons ready. So I'm telling everybody needs a sword. Go back in the old days, screw guns. You know, we need to get swords. Everybody get knives and everything, daggers, bow and arrows. Back in the old days, that's how we used to do it. Prefer it that way, because yeah, swords don't jam. Yeah. But let me know, everybody, if you like this story. Thank you so much to Sharon for submitting this video, or this story here, for all the listeners out there. And this is kind of going to be bringing about, you know, awareness to certain things and deities that are out there too. And unfortunately, you know, this is one of those things that these lure demons are also have ties to MMIW, to people going missing on the reservation. Not just kids, not just elders, but even people that are just going through grief. You know, they do these things to where they go and they take these people and they work sometimes with physical human beings as well. So just be very careful out there, everybody, whenever you're dealing with these things. Again, thank you, Sharon, for submitting this video. There's going to be a new schedule coming out here for Shanclen Shadow Productions. Now, you guys are going to be getting 2 uploads a week. So there's going to be a live streams still every Monday. I missed this week's live stream. I was very, very tired from traveling and everything. But anyways, Wednesday is going to be either a reaction video or a storytelling video from one of you, the viewers. And then Fridays are going to be my special videos I'm going to have of my personal experiences talking about deities and beings themselves. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to go follow my second channel, Shanclen Shadow Lodge. I'm going to be having a video of how Kendall Billa made this new ring for me. It's a Super Bowl ring. Look how thick that is. That's an awesome ring. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So if you guys haven't yet, go follow me on Instagram at official Shanclen SSB. Become a member of the channel. You get early access to these videos. And yeah, I have a merch store. Got some new merch out there, so go check that out. And you all take care. Many blessings to each and every one of you. Hope you have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Hagone! Geez, I don't know if it was like when I was a kid. I don't know if I'm a little dyslexic. I have a hard time reading sometimes. Some of these things just kind of, words get all mixed up and everything. I gotta take a lot of takes on these. I'm gonna be hitting the road again, so I'll see y'all later.